right? And then of course internships, project, what all we have to do. So like at my time and my friends, we do not have like a lot of people. Initially we did not have a lot of people till my third year which we can talk to very easily and find out a lot of things. We searched, we tried a lot of things. Like I have put my hands in almost every domain that I've mentioned. Apart from that, there are research papers and all. Also I've tried those, publishing them as well, seeing what works for me, what I enjoy, what opportunities there are, right? And figuring out what works best for me, I have decided to pursue this software development field. And here I am today, like with you guys. Thank you.
We would now like to request all participants to maintain the decorum. First, we will begin with the most common questions that we got through registrations. Meanwhile, you can put your questions in the chat box. In the end, we will let you ask question directly from the speaker. So, sir, can I start from the questions now?
Definitely, whatever you like.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, there was a question in the registration link. Sir, if I have interest in backend, so can I get into the DevOps and more particularly in the cloud computing? Basically, he wants to know with that, please tell me the upcoming future of cloud computing.
Okay, so I would like to mention that any particular field, let it be, for instance, the person is focusing on cloud computing and DevOps particularly, but whatever they are like particular specified fields like ML and all as well. So the scope for these is tremendous these days, right? But for a BTech student straight out of college, generally major companies do not hire for like a cloud computing engineer or a DevOps engineer or uh, let's say ML engineer or whatever, data scientist or these roles. What they hire for generally, the big companies I'm talking about, is SD role, generic SD roles. And depending on what team you are working on, what project do you have currently, you get different tools. Like for instance, I am in Microsoft. I was working on the Azure part itself for creating new services in Azure, right? So that was my particular work. Some people are working on the security part of Microsoft. Some people are working in different domains. But like if you have specified interest and you definitely want to pursue cloud computing, then you have a certain things that you can do. First is go for smaller companies that focus in that domain. Like there must be, I'm not well versed with cloud computing myself, so I cannot name a few, but there must be a lot of companies that have their primary product on cloud computing, so you can reach out to those companies. And second of all, if you definitely want to pursue one particular field, is I would suggest is doing MS or something like higher education in that particular domain, which will help you get to get it.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So the next question is that, sir, we have done Python already and wish to do competitive coding. How should we pursue it? Basically, this question is from freshers.
Okay,
Correct me
so,
first.
yeah, perfect. So you have done Python. So Python is a language which is not like something you should focus a lot on while doing comparative programming or DSA. The skill set for comparative programming at DSA is very different from the language itself, right? But if you want to pursue comparative programming, what steps you should take is first go to any platform like Code Chef or Code Forces. For a very beginner, like someone who has just started with comparative coding and has no idea, I would suggest long challenges. Code Chef long challenges is very good for someone who for the first contest, and someone who is well versed with DS Algo and uh, feels a bit confident can move to short contest. And for that, my personal preference has always been Code Forces, right? So log into these sites, make a profile, and start giving contests. That is the way you move about it. And if you want to ask, like, if you want to focus or want me to focus on the language, then I would say that for comparative programming, Java and C++ are like more beneficial, specifically C++, because if you implement the same logic in Python and C++, I've seen various times that the C++ code gets accepted, whereas the same logic, the same everything's the same in Python takes a lot of time, and you can get TLE sometimes. So that that way C++ is better for comparative.
Okay, Harshita has asked a question in the chat box. So, in which year did you get internship at Goldman Sachs and how did you get it? Please share your experience.
Okay, so I got my internship after I was in third year. So like that was on-campus opportunity for me. So when I was in third year, companies come and I gave this entire process of Goldman Sachs, the the online round, coding round, then the interviews, and I got it. If you want to ask for like experience as in the type of questions that is being asked, it is very different for different companies, but I'll share for Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs in particular is very different, as in it has various sections in its test. The first section has two medium level coding question, DSA questions. Then it has MCQ section which focuses on the core subjects like DS algo. As in DS algo they have output questions and time complexity questions. Then OOPS, OS, DBMS, these questions are generally asked. After that, there is one more coding question, which is generally a very hard problem. And then there are some more MCQs on quantitative analysis sort of thing, like the general maths, 10th standard maths questions, percentages, interest, time, and all of these questions. And at end, they ask two questions, which is like based on your personal experience. You just have to write an English paragraph. And in Goldman Sachs, I have experienced that there is a weightage for each section separately. So I have seen people who have done like 100% of all the questions and have left the last section and have not received the interview call. But the people who might have not completed the hard coding question or have left one or two MCQs but have completed the last section have got the interview call. So this is what I have done. I've got from that experience. Apart from that, in interviews, Goldman Sachs particularly asks standard questions. Apart from that, particularly in Goldman Sachs, it focuses on puzzles a lot. So if you are preparing for that company, do prepare for puzzles. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Avek Malhotra has asked that, sir, how did you prepare for your off-campus interview, and what skill sets did you focus on?
Okay, good question. So for off-campus interview, if you only want to focus on interview, I don't think that there is any difference than an on-campus interviews. So generally, in off-campus versus on-campus, if I see the difference lies is the CV shortlisting part, because in on-campus you have a smaller set of people that you are competing with for the first round, right? And after that, there are only 15 to 20 people that are shortlisted generally in companies. The number might go up as to 100 as well for some companies, but generally 20 up to 20 30 people, right? So the main difference is the CV shortlisting part. So for off-campus opportunities, especially international, if I talk about, you require a really good CV that gets shortlisted. Apart from that, the interview process is pretty much same, and other skill sets as well.
Okay, sir. Sir, Sanket Balani from first year has asked, sir, apart from coding, what skills help you in getting internship and placements you made you stand out among many other potential candidates?
Okay, what other skill set help me? So first of all, I would like to focus on the projects part. Like in different internships also help. Like if I have internship at Goldman Sachs, 5 and other startups as well, so that helped me in Microsoft and Google London. But for like my first internship before getting Goldman Sachs, if I talk about, then projects is something that you can work on, because till then you don't have any experience while apart, but projects is something that you can make on your own. And I get a lot of questions based on like, is machine learning important, or is Android better than web, or the vice versa, and which domain to focus on. I see one or two questions over here as well, right? So I would say, like, very very frankly and with 100% surety, that there is no domain which is better than the other. It is like, if you have only done Android development, that's fine. If you have only done web development, that's fine. If you have explored all the domains, that's fine. The thing is, the kind of projects that you are making in that domain, what problem statement you are solving, is that something that you have thought of, or is that something that you have just, a very common thing, like um, let's say a notes app or a tic-tac-toe app. These are very standard apps. So interviews have seen all of this a lot of times. So that that is something that you can work on, some unique project, something that you have originally thought of, right? And how to approach that, I think that hackathons is a really really good way to go about it, because in hackathon you are forced to think about some new problem. That is how it works, right? So hackathons is a very good platform to work upon that. Apart from that, you can take part in different competitions when, like, competitive coding also helps to get your CV shortlisted if you have good ranks in Kickstart and Hacker Cup and all of these. So these things also help. Apart from that, if you want to work on open source, like if you crack GSOC, that does not need a good CV. That needs good open source, right? If you have good open source profiles, that can help as well. So these are the different areas that one can focus on, to get started with. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Personally, I want to ask one question from you. Sir,
Yeah.
can you please share one hackathon experience of your life, and what are the terms and what we have to focus during a hackathon? So, can you please share that?
One hackathon experience. Okay, let me think of amongst all the hackathons that I've took part in. Okay, so there was this Citibank's hackathon held like last year itself. It was my last hackathon as well. So it asked for a problem statement related to stock market, like stock price prediction. So that was the problem statement that we had to work on. And now we did not have any idea about different domains, like for example web scraping. We needed to get data. They did not provide us any data for us, but they provided a list of 200 companies that we had to do stock prediction for, and a particular time frame from 2013 to 18, I guess. So we did some research. We found out what sites are there, but you cannot download 5 years of data manually for 200 companies. That will take your like whole weekend that you have for the hackathon, right? So what we had to do is we had to automate that process. And at that time, I did not know web scraping. Neither did any of my teammates did, right? So we just YouTubed, we just Googled Medium articles. We just saw how, different things can work and how can we get that data very quickly. So it is not that I mastered web scraping or web scrolling. I am not master of it. I know very basics, but uh, in hackathon, like having the problem statement and solving a particular problem is there in mind, so you do not focus on learning the concept first. You just try to solve the problem however it is solved. You don't care about that, so that is like very quickly you understand a lot of concepts. So that is something that is a really good thing about hackathons and a good experience of mine.
Hi, Monil.
Hi Ishtaya.
Thanks for coming, firstly. And I think all the questions are all over the place. I think one question that all of these guys would have is what should be the right roadmap from first to fourth year? Something that they should actually know, and something none of them is asking. The right,
uh, right roadmap. Okay, this is like
especially
a
for the SDE profile, because that's a lot
hmm.
of quite competitive in that field.
Yep. So for SD profiles, and like, do you want to focus only on MNCs or general, like the good startups as well?
I think ev- both
Both.
works.
Both.
Both works. Okay, so
Yeah.
the path is quite different for the two of them. So I'll first focus on the big MNCs part, because that is what I was focused on, and that is what I have accomplished in my 4 years. So for SD part, in big companies, what do they want? First of all, DS. So DSA is really, really important. Like, you should start doing it as soon as you can. Like in first day of college, you can start doing it, and you are not late even if you are doing it in your like even semester of your second year. But my point is that is the most important part, and you should start doing that as soon as you can. Second, have good projects. Like again, I'm repeating that because though I have, in my experience, projects are not very much focused in the interviews. They do ask questions on it, and you should be able to answer it, but that is not the major part of the interview. That is but for like again CV shortlisting, and having a better impression, you should have a good CV, right? And for that, projects is important. So how to approach that? So according to me, giving 3 to 4 months to DSA first is good enough if you have time. If you don't have time, you can focus a lot and do it in about 1 or 2 months. The standard DSA till DP graphs, like covering everything and the standard questions. After you do that, you don't completely leave DSalgo. You start with giving some contests. If you don't want to go hardcore competitive, if you don't want to go code chef level, code forces level, then start giving lead code contests that they are just weekly and bi-weekly. That is a good way to keep on like don't lose focus and do be blank after 6 months, and then start pick up any domain that you like: machine learning, web development, Android development, cloud computing, IoT, anything that you want, anything that interests you. Read about it, see, learn the basics, then go in depth, make some projects to understand the concepts, and then start taking part in hackathons. Start thinking of different ideas. If you are not taking part in hackathons, then also you can think of different problem statements, because that is the core concept of it, right? So think of different problem statements that you can learn and do them. And one thing that a lot of people don't focus a lot on, and I have seen it especially in my years, that people who are really really good at coding, really good GPA and really good CP, but they fail at interviews, is they don't focus on core subjects like OOPS, DBMS, OS. These subjects are also asked in interviews, and though they don't have equal weightage, but if you don't answer any question of these, if the person sees that okay, he can only do DS algo, then you will not get that good feedback. You won't receive a good feedback, and probably not the offer as well. So you should definitely focus on oops, DBMS and OS. But when to do it, I would suggest like when you have 1 month, 1.5 months before the interviews, because these subjects is something especially for a computer science and related branches student. They have already learned these in your college semesters. And for someone who is not from these backgrounds, what about them? They should start this a bit earlier, like in the last semester, one semester they can lightly go about it. They first have to understand what all different topics they have to cover and all. So side by side goes that. So first DSA, then projects, and then the core subjects. If you have these, then in the last 2 months you should also start building your CV, because people think that I have to just write down stuff on a piece of paper. That is not true about CV. It took me about 1.5 month to draft my first CV, and till date, like when I was applying for Google London and Bloomberg, it took me like 5 to 6 days to update that CV, and I just had to add Microsoft's experience. But when you sit to add one thing, you also tend to change a lot of things from the past. So it took me 5 to 6 days again to update my CV, right? So don't take that part lightly, that just you have to write down things, you just have to mention your experiences, your project names. No, you have to do it in a good way, so that you get a good ATS score, you get CV shortlisted. So focus on that, right? And like if you have done like till now you have 2 3 different projects, if you want to focus on that same domain, let's say someone has picked web development and he's enjoying it, continue building more projects, continue learning more, continue to go into depth. And if you are not enjoying that, like for me, I did not enjoy web development personally a lot, so I tried to explore new things. I tried to learn ML. I did not enjoy that as well, so I shifted to comparative coding. I enjoyed that. I stick to that, so it's perfectly fine. You can switch fields. You can stick to any field. That does not matter. Just but the enjoyment part is important, because otherwise you will not be able to give your time and learn the core concepts and in depth of it. Yeah, so that I guess is
Yeah,
how
I
answer
do
the question.
agree to that. One question that a lot of these guys ask is which language to pick for DSA, especially C++, Java, or Python, and
For someone
especially C++
who's
versus Java.
Yeah, so someone I was just saying that Python is not a recommended language to pick up for first, especially for DSA. In C++, Java, yeah, it is a very very good competition, because C++ has some concepts like pointers and all. That is some plus point for some and negative point for others. Because if you do CP, then C++, then you have to answer those questions in interview as well. If you do Java, that is highly used in industry. Companies like Goldman Sachs, companies like Morgan Stanley, companies like Flipkart, like Microsoft does not use it because it has its own C# language. But a lot of different companies. I think Google also uses Java in a lot of things, right? So if you do that, then one drawback is the interviewer will be thorough with it. So that is something. I'm sorry. So, but apart from that, C++ is faster than Java if you are focused on competitive coding. So just follow your heart and pick any of them. It won't matter. Like they have equal balance.
Okay, one question is it's pretty interesting. What to do if a person is not interested in coding? On what skill set should he or she focus on then?
Coding, as in, is that person focusing on DSA and competitive coding, or in general?
Divyanshu, I think you would want to ask that question directly. I think in general, probably, if he's not here.
Okay, in generally, then
In
you should,
general.
okay, in general, then you should change the field because that is what you will be doing, right? But if someone is focusing only on like if some other person is has the same question but just for competitive coding and DSA, then you should target startups because they generally do not focus so much on coding. They focus on development part, but you should be really really good in development. Like I remember my postman interview, it was like so much in depth of development. I've not seen any company, like even TRC's interview was next most in depth, but that was not in development part. That was in core subjects like C++ and OOPS and OS. But if you want to target startups, then focus on development. Otherwise, change the field. Yeah.
Another another question that I think these guys would have is where and when to apply for internships, especially for like third year. It's the right time to do so.
When my answer is always keep on applying because no matter how good your CV is, like exceptionally good, like one in like whole India I don't know about, but like I have seen no one in my college whose CV gets shortlisted everywhere. In like I'm not the best, but like I applied for more than 10 companies and I got called from two, Bloomberg and Google. So yeah, so that's how it is. Like in real life, you don't know when your CV will be shortlisted, at what capacity a company is hiring. So always keep applying, always keep updating your CV, always keep adding skill sets, new projects, and always keep applying. And what was the second part of the question? Can you please repeat?
I think it was when only that when they should apply it for. It was from a first year.
You can start applying from first year itself. Just add a few basic skill set and start applying for very very small internships, very very small internships. And as you move forward, apply for bigger companies.
Hmm. I think one student has asked if you can show your resume.
Not right now, sorry.
So,
Planning
Divyansh,
a session soon.
okay.
Yeah,
And if I think if anyone wants to have their resume reviewed, how about that?
no problem. I don't have any problem. You can share your screen.
Who's doing that?
Can I share the link of my resume? I have it right now, but I've joined from my phone, so it
Sure,
will be
I'll
better.
share my screen. I'll share my screen.
Okay, then I'll send you my resume link.
Bhavya, I have a question. Let's first review the resume. Okay, let me just share that tab. Perfect. Okay, let me just put this on a different screen. What is that? Are you able to see the resume, everyone?
I think
Yes,
a
sir.
little,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
maybe
Okay,
zoom in a bit. So
maybe
yeah,
zoom in a bit. Okay.
yeah,
Okay, let
cool.
me give you like 1 minute to go through it and then let me just. Mhm. Hmm. Okay, so there are a couple of points that I would like to focus on. First is the most important resource in your CV is your space. Because like I remember I have up to 7 8 internships and like full-time experience, including full-time experience, and I have space only for three. So it's always like competition for space. And in this CV, I see a lot of it being wasted, right? And you might feel like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but
It's Aveg.
Aveg. Okay. Aveg, you must feel that you don't have so much content that you are out of space right now, but I will focus on what all you have missed in your CV. So you will need space. So one thing is get rid of all of this space and use it wisely. Second is the most important part is how you mention your stuff. So in projects, like first of all, anything that a person sees is the name. So Geosys and Verifigo, these are names that does not make sense to me, but that is a good part. That is a good part because in a music app, I would assume that okay, this must be something where you have uploaded a few music, like some songs, and people can stream that at best, like something like Spotify or something like more basic. So it is more, it has more chances of me reading Verifigo, yeah, Geosys, because it instills a bit of curiosity, like what is it, like what is it about. So have good names. Very very basic thing, you can have any name, like I don't know what this or this is, but good enough. You can have these names, right? Basic banking app, don't put such names, use good
Okay.
names. Second, let's dive deep. Made a basic banking app to transfer money among users using this. Go in a bit of details. Go in a bit of details. Like made medicine verification app using React, made full stack app using this included working music players. So you have any any project that you mention, you have to focus on three steps majorly. First, what is it? Like a music app, what it does. You have clarified that it does this, but it is in the middle of sentence. Use bullet points, and the first bullet point should be what is the entire app about. Second is what have you done in it. Like go a bit technical because it is going to be shortlisted for SD role. It is not like product development role or something that you want to talk only about higher level. You want to go in a bit of details, go in bit of details to talk about how have you used different components, and in them, in between sentences, mention these like MongoDB, Node.js, but like mention like what. And third part, which will not be there in most cases, you will think, but if you go deep, there will be such thing. Quantify it, as in the results. If it is something that is being used at high level, then you are like very good to go. Like 1,000 people are using this, so many downloads, this. Yeah, if you have improved something on previous stuff, like improve the efficiency of this algorithm by this much, or had itna songs, like try to quantify stuff and put results of that. Like if you have made this app, what is the app, how have you made it, what have you done, and what is the result of it. So I don't see any result wala part and no bullet points. So if you use them and put that clearly, you will have 3 bullet points for all of this, and then one link is also hidden. So link should be something that should be very visible in CV. Like if I have a look, I should be like, okay, let me see this app. You have deployed that, very good point. You should always like put links. That is a very good point that you have done in most of your projects. Second, like similarly, responsibilities handled or position of responsibility section. You have only mentioned your position. You have not mentioned what you have done for it. Mention stuff over here.
Okay.
It is also very good to add keywords in your CV. For example, I was the one head of code chef society in my college. Okay, so I could add a lot of keywords related to comparative. I add comparative in my profile, but someone who does not he can add comparative keywords without doing comparative. Are you getting my point? If you have uh, if you have never worked for, let's say, blockchain, but you have done one blockchain workshop, you can mention blockchain on your CV. Are you getting my point? It is not something
Yeah.
that will trigger the interviewer, but it is something that will fool the ATS system. Getting my point?
Yeah.
So that is something that you should do. For a fresher, education is the section that should be on the top left. The first thing that anyone should see is education for a fresher. 2 years down the line, this section goes down. But for now, education has to be on the top. Similarly, for professional experience, you have only mentioned full stack web development, and it was an internship and the time period. You have not mentioned what you have worked on, any technical details. You have not mentioned any. You should
Okay.
mention, like, all of this should go like Spark Foundation, comma intern. Over here, you mention like what was the time period. Over here, mention three pointers. First, again, the same format. What was the project that you were working on a high level? Second, what are the things that you were working on? It was full stack. Mention the details, like what tech stack work you were working on. Third, in internships, you will always have result because it is a real life project that someone is working on. Mention that result always. Personal profile, you don't need to put. You don't never put personal profile or your summary on your CV. Next, if we go in details, in skills, you have mentioned data structures, full stack web development, Android development, mobile app development. Good. Mention the frameworks that you have used. Right. Mention the libraries that you have worked on. Next, you can mention the coursework that you have done. That way, you will have some more keywords like OOPS, OS, DBMS. If you have done some ML, like in my college, it was optional subject. Like, so I chose that. So machine learning and all of these subjects can be put on your CV. Okay, I see that C++ front end backend testing. Okay, I this can go like languages and frameworks can go along with skills only. I'm sorry, I did not pay attention earlier. So full stack development and that you have mentioned like in two different sections, but yeah, okay. Other activities is good if you can have it as achievements. Like not other, the heading could be achievements and not other activities. That way, it will like attract the reader a bit more, and you can remove the participation wala part. Participation, like if it is like participation is a very big level thing, then it is fine. But otherwise, participation you can get rid of. Uh, get in contact also, like you can place over here under the Avik Malhotra, like under your name you can put all of this phone number, hyphen, or like one big vertical line, and then email address, and then no need to put your New Delhi, and then your LinkedIn profile, right? And you can shorten the links, like there are two things, like the link behind it and the text that is shown. So for text, you do not need to put all of these numbers and all. So that way it will, look a bit better. Yeah. So on a high level, I would like to focus on only these points.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so these small points like help a lot. Like how you mention your project, for example, is very important, and your internship. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So these points can be used in by many of us in our resume also. So there was a question in the chat box by Bhavya Minocha. Is this session supposed to be based on entirely computers and coding? Is there a good reason as why most students from with completely unrelated majors still go after coding and related opportunities rather than pursuing what they're actually studying?
Yeah, good reason. So I think that according to my observation, is that the number of opportunities and the amount of money in this field is drastically more, especially in these times. It has gone up. Every company is hiring like mad people. So that is like one of the major part that people focus on. People move their like they leave their core opportunities and get into this domain. Otherwise, it's like a personal decision. Like if you like to work in this area, or you like to work have this type of job, I like it's not something that there is a right answer to.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, like in a CV, in our resume, if we have like a big company, let's say a big four, EY or Deloitte or something, compared to having a good startup, take any startup you'd like. So, what kind of an impact that has on my resume when I send it out to somebody else? What does it actually mean?
So you have mentioned EY and Deloitte and these companies, right?
Yeah,
Big Four. So what are you sending your resume for? Like SD role, right?
yeah,
These companies are not focused on software development part. So if you would say that big companies in that domain, like
okay,
Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Flipkart, Sprinkler is also not particularly in this domain, but there are certain companies like TRC Sprinkler which have a reputation of hiring good engineers at a good level. Like Goldman Sachs is also not in domain of software engineering for say,
yeah,
but it has a good reputation of hiring good engineers, right? So
yeah,
companies with or like some product based companies, these big names will help you. I'm not 100% sure. Like I would say that good startups are better than uh, having EY and these companies which are not really,
okay,
working on software development as such.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Another resume
So
has been posted if you would want to review that as well. They'll get a range of resume.
Okay. Let me just share the screen. Okay. It has been made on Google Docs.
Oh,
Wait. Uh, yeah. So first of all, like it's okay if you are making it on Google Docs. There are a lot of people doing this doc right now. It's okay if you make it on Google Docs, but save it as a PDF and always share it as
Yes,
PDF.
I generally share it as a PDF, but for the chat only, I use the doc link.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. Hmm. No need to put these certificates. Coding Ninjas and Udemy, zero value. If you have good certifications, like there are cloud computing courses by like you have AWS practitioner. That's why I'm focusing on cloud computing by Azure and by Google Cloud and by AWS. Also, I'm sure there must be some cloud certification. These hold some value. These are really good certifications. And if you have other domain, you have good certification by good, you know, people who is recognized internationally, then it's fine. Otherwise, this section is completely useless. Adds zero value to your CV. And these keywords can be added in skill set, right? Skills. Perfect. So you have smart searching, googling. Okay, it's actually a useful skill. I won't deny,
This
but
was recently added after the LinkedIn post which went viral.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. Not
So,
checking LinkedIn a lot these days, but yeah, it is actually good to have this skill, but a bit funny to add it on your CV. Like you can leave it also, like not a very hard and fast tool. Apart from that, again, like add your core subjects. Where are core subjects? You don't know how much value do they add to your CV, because if you okay, let me share one more tab. Which company do you want me to focus? Any big company, tech product based company.
Flipkart.
Flipkart careers. I've never opened Flipkart career space before, but let's see. Let's see a college level opening if there is any. I'll show you one thing. Oh, those India software development engineer. What is the for job description? It is not for. I guess. Yeah, this is for seniors. I wanted something for fresher. Oh, I don't think that they are hiring right now. But my point was, if you have any opening for any fresher, I'll like find and share you any link. Try to find any opening. They will mention OS or DBMS or these things on their job description.
Yes.
And these keyword matching is very, very important to add score directly to your CV if you match exactly what they are asking for. So adding those subjects is really important. Now, right, uh, admin details. Again, this has to go up before your profiles. This is important. And like mention BTech information technology. Like there is a standard format of mentioning anything because that's what people look for. Like I was looking for where is your education, which branch you are in, and all. So mention that above, and then your college, and then your GPA, right? And then your profiles and contact information. You don't need to create another section. Just mention your contact and remove this tech enthusiast from here. Remove this contact, remove this part, and just shift it above that, right? And profiles, MySpace. What is this? Is this your project or something?
Uh, just like my portfolio website.
Portfolio website. Don't. Okay. Okay. So it is like very, very good to have a portfolio website for your CV, but I don't know whether like MySpace is a keyword for that or not. So just check that, right? In experiences, okay. Good how you have mentioned this. I redesigned and developed company website as well as skills used. Perfect. Add bullet points and add a third point for adding what values like develop the company website. So like it must have, they must have some numbers with them. Like if you are working on anything, like I was working on automation of on one in Goldman Sachs of one task. Okay, so I could mention that I automated this part using this, and it included this part. Okay, this is one thing you have included that, but I also added one more point that it reduced the operation time from 3 weeks to 3 seconds. Okay, so this is how you quantify and results. And in experiences you will always have, like why is the redesigning and development necessary? Why is that user admin dashboard necessary? It must have increased the retention, or it must have increased something, so you must be familiar with that role, but you should add that. My major task included, I okay, so one more thing, like how you mention stuff. Like my major task included mentoring. You can start from mentored students and took their doubts related to the course.
Yeah.
Like very crisp and to the point things, because like you have to convey the most useful information in least number of words possible, right? So mentored students, skills used. Okay, mention how many students were there in the class, right?
Okay.
That's how you can quantify things. In any internship you will have things to quantify. I was responsible for building and integrating. I was responsible, built and integrated the front end of e-commerce application. Like I've not changed what you have written, just reformatted it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can add more part, like you have integrated front end and that, but what exactly, right? So like you worked on you won't have changed the entire front end yourself.
Yeah.
You must be
Definitely.
working on one simple part. Like for front end, let's say you were working on the cart part, so add some details about your work as well. Okay, and then it must have also led to something. There must be some results, right? Again, that GUI based, I don't see any links. I don't other projects on GitHub. It's okay that you have mentioned that you can find that on GitHub, but don't expect an interviewer to open GitHub repositories and find that project. If you are mentioning a project, try to host it one. If it is not hosted, like a lot of my projects are not hosted, but if they are not hosted, then also mention the GitHub link, at least that you can do, and maintain good README files. Like I am not opening GitHub right now for everyone, but try to maintain good README files and all that describes in very much details like what the project is, and if someone wants to run it on their local machine, how they can do it.
Okay.
Implemented design. Like over here you have use that. Over here you have mentioned I was responsible, but over here it is a bit more better format. For Python using, okay. Don't mention game we have played like this. Like this does not add any value. It just makes your CV look bigger than that it is and like bit more monotonous. So just remove this. A game 2024 in Python using this. Add some more logic and try to have better names like 2024 2048 is still better because okay because I have not seen this being implemented a lot, but generally games like snakes and all a lot of people are implementing facial emotion recognition. Give it your see one suggestion. Face this must be using har cascade, is it?
No, it's OpenCV and a bit of
Oh, okay,
deep
sorry, it is
learning
face
knowledge.
detection. It is emotion detection. Yeah, okay. So you have that. It is like even the emotion detection project is very common, very common, right?
Yeah,
How can you improve that without a lot of efforts? Make a website. Make a website in which people can drag and drop or select a file from their computer or open their camera in
yeah,
over there itself and add it, right? So with very minimal, like especially if you have back end skills and front end skills a bit of, you can make that very easily. You can pick up any template from GitHub for free. You can add
yeah,
that
yeah.
part and add this facial emotion recognition and give that website a name. So that will make than it is right now.
Okay.
And like it is face emotion recognition and then again face recognition, kind of redundant. Just mention Python. Just mention Python, right?
Okay.
Social media website, mention it in like follow one format. Like if you are having tech stack over here, you are mentioning the tech stack over here, right? But over here you have not mentioned tech stack. You have mentioned a social media website. Don't do that.
Okay.
Be like the format of your CV should be as like similar throughout as it can. Add bullet points like you have two line sentence, try to reduce them to one line, divide them in two different sentences, right? Volunteer work, Indian society, part of coordinator. Better like you have described it like code chef college chapter, the one that I was talking about, right? So you can actually lead the. You can add so many numbers here in societies and all. Why you have not added any numbers in your CV? Quantification is very necessary and keyword matching is very necessary. These two things makes your CV stand out. So these are the major points. Like it's not 1 hour dedicated session for CV reviewing. So on
Yeah.
high level, but these are the things that you should focus on first. Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
no problem.
Thank you very
Uh,
much, sir. So there is a common question of Himansh and Avik Malhotra. So, any advice for offshore FANG placements outside India?
Offshore flank placements outside India. Oh, see, different companies have different structure. You have to understand this. If you are applying for Facebook, I feel like in the past times I have also applied. I have not got a call back, but I've talked to different people who have got an offer. So it is coming from that perspective. I should mention that. So I think that getting a referral for Facebook is very important as compared to Bloomberg or Google. I did not have referral in these two companies. I got a call back in Facebook with the same CV and the same skill set and everything. I did not get a call back, and people with a similar CV and all is getting call back, and Facebook is hiring a lot these days, right? One thing this. Second, so research about the company. Anytime you are applying, especially international, research about a company. Though the generic format is same, but there are some areas that certain companies focuses on more. So you should be prepared for that. Second, like for offshore and like national, like I mean Indian opportunities, keep on applying. Like these days, companies are hiring a lot, like especially UK and like Europe in general is hiring a lot. So it is a good chance if you have a good profile, if you have a good skill set, you are confident, do apply for those opportunities. There is a high chance that some of you might get it, right? So one is that. Second, see in which areas like Singapore is very good if you want to apply for HFTs. not only tower research. I'm not like very thorough with the names right now, but like I talk to friends who are interested in those kind of opportunities. So Singapore is a region which is very, very good for HFT firms, right? So try to see what companies hire in what regions, right? And try to focus it that way. Otherwise, Indian opportunities and international opportunities, the format of recruitment is not very different. Like you need the same skill set, you need the same preparation, everything. So that is not very different. But generally, like some things that I've seen international is open source research work, and these kind of things help. Like these, they have more value for these things than Indian people do. Yeah, that's all.
Sir, I have one question, just a small one. Just, if you can answer that, then look at the CV once. Just,
Mm-hmm.
sir, right now I'm in my fifth semester. I'm good in development side, but I'm lacking in DSA a bit, lacking in DSA. So how should I focus before the studies before my placement season?
You are in your third year right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you are lacking in DSA bit. So this is a very vague statement because I don't know what lacking for you is, because for you and for me can be very different, right? You can be a code forces master and then say you are lagging, and I might be specialist. That I'm just saying it is very vague. But you first have to evaluate how much you are lagging, right? And what is the level of DSA which is generally asked in the companies that you are targeting. If there is a huge gap in that or a significant gap in that, leave everything and focus on that, right? If you think that it is not a lot, then you should like balance it out, right? The core subjects and projects and different opportunities like hackathons and open source and whatever you're interested in, then balance it out. So just evaluate how much you are lagging first.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, now the next CV, I guess. This is the last CV that we are reviewing today.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Acha,
I just don't like to say no, that's why I'm mentioning
yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Ishida, you were saying something?
And meanwhile, there's a question: should first year focus on advanced C++ first, like get thorough knowledge of C++, and then go to DSA, or like a basic idea in C++ works for that?
A basic idea. Start coding as soon as you can, and like side by side, if you while coding in college,
Hmm.
keep on learning. Yeah.
And to add to a Vex question, a lot of I get this question a lot. So if a lot of people are lagging in DSA and algorithm and they're not able to like remembers the algorithms or stuff, so what is this particular data structures that they should focus on?
Data structures.
For the like it's a vast topic, you something that someone who's lagging should work on.
Yeah, every data structure is important. I cannot discriminate, but if I have to prioritize on
For
the
the
basis.
immediate, like you can say, for the immediate placements that are going to happen for third year, they're starting in like about a month or so, what should they focus on if they're not able to do it right now?
Okay, so I'll cover generic DSA, not only data structures. So
Mm-hmm.
the most important topics are graphs and DP.
Hmm.
DP and graphs is something that is most frequently asked in any MNCs. Apart from that, you have trees, which I include in graphs itself because
Yeah.
trees is a specific condition added to graphs. Yeah. After that, you have greedy, in which you need heaps and hash maps a lot. So hash maps and heaps along with greedy is like one bundle in my head. And binary search. Binary search. In binary search comes lower bound and upper bound
Yeah.
functions. Like for the people in using Java, they don't have inbuilt function for these. But for people in using CPP, like C++, they have inbuilt function for these. But these are some concepts that is very helpful
Yeah.
for a lot of questions, right? So binary search and greedy wala bundle together on the second level. Third level, I'll keep topics like arrays,
Mm.
linked list, stacks, queues. ठीक है, these I have never seen people asking direct questions like LRU cache is an exception. Like there are very few exceptions which the questions that are directly asked. But generally, people never ask in online round or interviews direct question from these. But these are things which are, used conceptually. For example, if anyone asks to design a data structure which has insertion and deletion in O1, आंख बंद करके it is linked list and hash maps,
हाँ,
right? So w english to be more specific, right? So you have to keep in mind like these topics will never be asked directly, but like for stacks queues, like for queues, the window based question in like graphs you might use it, or dp you might use like first have to divide a question into windows and sliding window and then apply dp to those components, or like for stacks like there are next greater previous smaller, like such questions that might be a small part of a bigger problem, right? So these are the next in line that I
yeah.
would say.
I hope you answered a lot of people's question right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so this CV, man, a lot of blank space, a lot of blank space. Interests good, languages okay. For a SD role, not necessary at all. Like just think like the role that you are applying for, right? Does this part have any additional value, or like if you want to focus on your you know multi-talentedness or something, then you can add Spanish in your other interests or languages in your other interests, right? Don't have another section for it, adds no value to it, right? Then volunteer work good. Oh, man, this the format that you have used, like it is not very visible. Use different color, very light gray. Managing the creative design team of the society and helping them create Instagram post. Again, like one thing that see is missing from all of the CVs is numbers. I don't see numbers, and that is what I look for the first. Where are like managing a team of how much? Right, Instagram posts say there must be some uh, increase in number of followers. If the number seems big, write in terms of number. If percentage seems bigger, write in terms of that, right? Similarly in other experiences as well. Better way to write data January, March, July 2021 instead of 720. Like it's just good to eyes, that's all. Achievements participated. Don't mention participations. Don't mention participation. Member of the month. Okay. Can write. Participation. हाँ ठीक है. Top. So don't mention participation over here. Right now, top 10 uh, like phrase it yourself, but like basically mention top 10 over here instead of just putting it in small. Yeah, similarly over here. Skills, Photoshop, Illustrator, not skills that are not, related to the job. So don't mention it. See. Good. For that, it is like a must-have skills. So that's why I'm saying for the profile that I'm just thinking in terms of, SD roles for that. Now, so much space, New Delhi, India, useless information. Web of Gupta. These informations are necessary to have phone number, if the email ID, LinkedIn, GitHub, if someone wants to see. Just mention in one line over here. Student, don't mention that. You have already mentioned it over here, right? Don't mention this. Personal projects, bullet points on the first CV that I have reviewed today. Good. Created an Amazon clone. Don't sell clone as a clone, because like this must be like something I am sure that you have seen from YouTube and implemented that, right? I can name the channel that you have used for that as well. It is so common. I just want to focus. It is not wrong to use YouTube channels. I do till date for that, but just be smart and sell it something for your own, right? Or like or if it is like something Amazon clone, just sell it so that it stand out from other, right? Firebase database deployed using Firebase hosting. Good, like better than all that I've seen till now. Google Auth used Firebase for hosting. Facebook clone. Again a clone, but okay. Better uh, like there is a scope for improvement always, but I would say that the basic things you have included apart from the result wala part. So if you include that as well in the project descriptions, it would be much better, right? And why is your CV empty? What other sections have you not mentioned? So be smart, man. If this format makes your CV look very empty, use a single column format, and use like for a general sense, use overleaf. Like there are a lot of templates over there. I don't know whether this is from there itself or not, but in general I want to say like overleaf is very good for CV placement, and all spacing it handles very very good. Apart from that, like see what other sections are missed over here. You don't have any experiences yet. Achievement, volunteer work, language interest, skills, add like college subjects. What other other sections that you are not having on your CV? Let me see. Oh, okay.
Experience only. Experience is missing. That's one section that's there.
Yeah, experience is one section that is being missed. Only one section. Okay.
Hmm.
So one suggestion for this particular CV especially, and I use it in my CV till date, WebHub. So what you can do is, if you have made these, you must have started from somewhere else. That you have made more smaller projects in React and other. Let me just plug in my charger. Yeah. So Sahil, you must have, it was Sahil, right? Webov, sorry. Webov, you must have some more projects that you made for learning purposes. Make another section for minor projects, right? And mention those projects over here. So those are not the major projects, but some minor projects, other projects that you have done, and mention them. That will take a lot of space. Okay. Other people can also follow. Like if you feel this, that your CV can have more things. Let me open my CV and see what is missing. Single CV. I've edited my CV. Okay, I don't have my CV right now. But okay, that's all like for a high level that I want to focus on. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we'll request all the participants to unmute themselves and ask your doubts. We have almost 5 minutes for the same, so please ask.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so in your projects you have used Pygame. So I had a question like because in game dev there are a lot of different options to start with, like C Sharp, Pygame, and then there are other engines like Unity and Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you advise to basically get started with?
Like, have you like? I'm sorry. Have you done in Pygame, or you want to start with something?
I want to get started in learning game dev.
You you want to start learning game dev. Okay, so I was in a similar situation some time back. If you want to focus on hardcore game development, right, then it's a different question. But if you want to go into game development for projects or for your SD role CV, right, for that I would suggest Python, because Python has a lot of use cases attached to it. Like if you have, I made a game recently, a chess app, not very recently, like 6 7 months back, but like that was my last personal project. It was a chess app, right? So I made that in Python, and I can like the reason is I can use machine learning bot, which I will write in Python, right? And I can create a backend which will again be in Python, which can be used to host that website. And again, Python is something that is used like in a lot of domains, right? In a lot of domains, so that will be a useful skill for you. So Pygame, for that, if you want to do hardcore game development, I will also have to do some research. I used to do it in Unity when I was in school, but I'm not sure what is the best option for career perspective for
Thank you, sir.
that. Any other
Sir,
doubts? Yeah.
how did you prepare for soft skills required in an interview, like body language and English speaking skills and things like that?
I never had to, uh, I was I think even now I'm not good at English, but I especially had this in my mind when I was like starting with college and all. But I never prepared for it separately. I was just never shy to go on a stage or go in front of a class and speak. I always loved teaching, and there are a lot of people who do not understand Hindi, so it is like a mandatory thing to communicate in English. And then I don't know, watch English movies. I don't know.
Okay, sir.
And body language is something that if you are confident, your body language will be good in itself. So I'm not the right person to ask how to improve that. I'm seriously telling, yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Bhaiya, being a SD at Google, does your job provides you with diversity?
But I have not started with my job at Google. I am joining next month. Ping me then. Okay. I've got an offer, but I'll be joining next month. So ping me then. I will answer then.
Any other questions, guys? We are already 10 minutes up. Okay, so I think we can wrap it up. Mayank, over to you.
Okay. Okay, so on behalf of our mentor Gopal sir and all present here, we would really like to thank you, sir, for your patience and for clearing up all our doubts, giving us guidance of what we should and shouldn't do, and especially reviewing 3 CVs in an 1 hour session. Uh, this would definitely help nourish our young minds, giving first year a perspective and third year a clear goal of what they need to do. Thank you, sir, for coming today.
No problem, Devansh. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye, sir.